Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and today I have for you my April book haul. So all the books that I acquired in the month of April, some I've already read, most of them I haven't, but I had a lot of fun and I'm really excited about everything I found this month. So let's get into it. So as usual, I'm going to talk about the two that I've already read. The first one that I hauled is The Queen of Blood. This is by Sarah Beth Durst. This is the first in an epic fantasy trilogy called The Queens of Renthia. This is about Delina, who at 10 years old, her village is massacred and she finds out that she has an affinity for the spirits that massacred her town and can in a way control them and make them do what she wants them to do. So she ends up going to school in order to learn more about her abilities and basically try to get in the running to one day become queen. And her goal is overall to make sure that things don't happen to other villages like what happened to hers. This book, I read this, I gave it 5 stars. I love Sarah Beth Durst's writing and she has like cozy vibes with this, but it's a lot more high stakes. And so this was just fantastic. Her world building and her descriptions, I love it so much. And her characters are fantastic. Delina, our main character, she isn't the best with making the spirits do what she wants them to do, but she works really hard and she's very committed to trying to make sure that things, you know, work out how she wants them to, or at least have a legitimate shot. So I love this. I gave this 5 stars. And spoiler for my May TBR, or for my May haul, I've already gotten the second book. So it came out Tuesday. I was able to get it on Sunday right before. My Barnes & Noble had it out early, so I snagged that as soon as I saw it. So loved this. I gave it 5 stars. Next up for the books I've already read, there are only 2 out of this pile, but that is Firebird by Juliet Cross. I gave this one 4 stars. This one is a dragon shifter romance that is set in ancient Rome, and it is definitely has conflicting opinions. So this is a slave and a slaver romance, which is the big issue that a lot of people seem to be having with this book. But when I read this, I was going into it with the mindset of Spartacus. There are slaves in the home, there is a lot of sex, orgies, there's all kinds of things like that. And because of that, I actually ended up enjoying this book more than I think a lot of people that have been reviewing it here lately. I've heard this compared to Game of Thrones and like that world, but I didn't see that. I went into it thinking Spartacus. So I enjoyed this one. This one is following, what is her name? Melina. This one is following Melina, and she, what's the word? Empathy? She's an empath. There we go. She's an empath. So she is able to know what people are feeling and manipulate that. She uses her abilities as an empath in the war, and she ends up getting captured and taken as a slave into Julianus Dacia's house. And he takes her as a slave, and then a romance ensues. He is not like other slavers, that he doesn't hurt his slaves or anything like that. He basically has like a found family, except they are slaves. So it's kind of a collection of misfits that he has within his house, but then they end up having a romance within it, and he is a dragon shifter. So like I said, I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen next. So I'm really curious to see where this one is gonna end up going, but it wasn't like the best thing ever. I felt like it was really repetitive in the fact that it kept saying, well, I'm a slave, I'm a slave, I'm a slave. I can't care about him because I'm a slave. So it got really repetitive, but overall I thought it was a really interesting story, and I'm curious to see where it's gonna go. Okay, and now let's get into the ones that I haven't read. So I have a whole stack here, and I'm just gonna start going through the piles. So The next book that I have not read yet is Us Against You by Fredrik Backman. This is the second book to Beartown, and I got that one from a little free library a couple months ago. I haven't read it yet, but I am very curious to try it. I've heard such wonderful things about Beartown, and so when I seen this one at Goodwill, I had to snag it so that way I have both of them, and then I can read them both because I love Fredrik Backman's writing along with so many other people. I think he just has a really great way of writing real people. They're very relatable. They're very real characters, and I think that's why so many people like his books. So this is like I said, the second one to Beartown. I don't even remember what Beartown is about. It's basically a small town that surrounds hockey, and then something devastating happens, and it's what follows after that, as far as I know. So this is book 2, and I'm really excited to read it. I'm going to say this a lot, but I'm very excited to read all these books. The next one that I picked up is Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune, and it says, "You and me in 1 year, don't let me down." Fern Brookbanks has wasted far too much of her adult life thinking about Will Baxter. She spent just 24 hours in her early 20s with the aggravatingly attractive and idealistic artist. A chance encounter that spiraled into a day-long adventure in the city. The timing was wrong, but their connection was undeniable. They shared every secret, every dream, and made a pact to meet again 1 year later. Fern showed up, Will didn't. At 32, Fern's life doesn't look at all how she once imagined it would. Instead of living in the city, Fern's back home, running her mother's lakeside resort, something she vowed never to do. The place is in disarray, her ex-boyfriend is the manager, and Fern doesn't know where to begin. She needs a plan, a lifeline. To her surprise, it comes in the form of Will, who arrives 9 years late, suitcase in tow, and an offer to help on his lips. Will may be the only person who understands what Fern's going through, but how can she possibly trust this expensive suit-wearing mirage who seems nothing like the young man she met all those years ago? Will is hiding something, and Fern's not sure she wants to know what it is. But 10 years ago, Will Baxter rescued Fern. Can she do the same for him now? So it sounds really cute. I've never read anything by this author before, so I'm very excited to try it. And it's so summery. Like spring and summer, it just has those vibes so much, and so I'm really excited to try it. Next up, I have If We Were Villains by ML Rio. I actually heard of this one because of BookTube, and I've always been curious to try it. This is Dark Academia, and that's pretty much all I remember. So it says, "Enter the players. There were 7 of us then, 7 bright young things with wide, precious futures ahead of us. Until that year, we saw no farther than the books in front of our faces. On the day Oliver Marks is released from jail, the man who put him there is waiting at the door. Detective Colborne wants to know the truth, and after 10 years, Oliver is finally ready to tell it. A decade ago, Oliver is one of 7 young Shakespearean actors at Delaware Classical Conservatory, a place of keen ambition and fierce competition. In this secluded world of firelight and leather-bound books, Oliver and his friends play the same roles on stage and off: hero, villain, tyrant, temptress, ingenue, extra. But in their 4th and final year, good-natured rivalries turn ugly, and on opening night, real violence invades the students' worlds of make-believe. In the morning, the 4th years find themselves facing their very own tragedy and their greatest acting challenge yet, convincing the police, each other, and themselves that they are innocent." So it sounds really good. I'm a little bit nervous about the Shakespeare aspect of this because I remember reading Shakespeare in high school, but I haven't touched it since then. So it's been over a decade since I touched anything Shakespeare related. And so we'll see how it goes. This next one is such a beautiful book, and I have wanted to get my hands on it for such a long time. I don't even remember what it's about, but I was really excited once again when I found it at Goodwill because it was just a couple dollars, and that is The Keeper of Stars by Buck Turner. This one, it just has such pretty colors and stuff on the cover. I love it. It's so beautiful. And it says, "Who says you can't rewrite the stars?" 1962, 12 years removed from the summer when she first gave her heart away, Dr. Elizabeth Ellie Spencer, professor of astronomy at Indiana University, receives a mysterious package that has her asking that very question. Inside the unmarked box is a novel written by Ellie's first love, Jack Bennett. It tells the story of a young man and woman who meet at the water's edge and fall madly in love, only to have their romance cut short by forces beyond their control. Ellie quickly realizes this is no ordinary story. It's their story. Captivated by Jack's words, she's immersed herself in the pages, reliving the adventures they shared that magical summer. To her astonishment, hidden among the tales of stargazing and stolen kisses is a detail that has her questioning everything. Seeking answers, Ellie turns to her sister for help, but before they can get to the bottom of the mystery, news reaches them of their aunt's death, sending Ellie back to the water's edge, with the hopes of finding the truth and rewriting the stars. I'm just really curious to try it out and see what I think of it. I've seen it at Barnes & Noble and seen it online, and I think it's a beautiful book, so I really want to try it. Next up is one that you've already heard me talk about a little bit, but I was, again, very excited to have found it at Goodwill. And that is Bunny by Mona Awad. So this one is a girl going to some kind of a private school, and there is a cult of girls that call themselves Bunny, and they decide to bring her into their little group and weird things happen. And that's all I know. I've heard such amazing things about this book, and I've always wanted to try it since I first started hearing about it, but I've always been a little bit scared because I don't know if I'm gonna like it. So I really am curious, and I'm really excited to try and read this one this month. Next up, I have Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. This one is kind of a literary fiction, I believe, that's just kind of following what happens with this family. And I know that the audiobook is narrated by Meryl Streep, which made me want to pick it up in the first place. So I do want to tandem read this one and do like an audiobook as well as reading it physically and see how I like it. My mom listened to the audiobook of this and she said it was fine, but I don't know, and I don't really want to know, so I have this one. Next up, I have The Island of Sea Women. This is by Lisa See. Honestly, I heard of this one. I think it was in the Goodreads Choice Awards, and I read Lady Tan's Circle of Women by Lisa See, and so that's why I got this one. So it's basically, it says that two girls from very different backgrounds working in the sea with their village's all-female diving collective over the decades through the Japanese colonialism of the 30s and 40s, World War II, the Korean War, and the era of cell phones and wetsuits for the women divers. They develop the closest of bonds, but after hundreds of dives and years of friendship, forces outside their control will push the relationship to the breaking point. So it sounds interesting, and I'm really curious to try something else by Lisa See. Next up, I have The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock. This is the one that my sister sent to me for our monthly book exchange. It's by Imogen Hermes Gower. And this one is a historical fiction, and I don't remember a whole lot about it. It says, one September evening in 1785, just beyond the docks of London, Jonah Hancock hears an urgent knocking on his front door. The captain of one of Jonah's trading vessels is waiting eagerly on the front step, bearing shocking news. On a voyage to the Far East, he sold Jonah's ship for something rare and far more precious, a mermaid. Jonah is stunned. The mermaid the captain presents him is brown, wizened, and as small as an infant, with vicious teeth and claws, and a torso that ends in the tail of a fish. It is also dead. So, mermaids and historical. I'm really curious to try this one. So next up, I have The Briar Club by Kate Quinn. This one was for sale for $2 at my library, and it is hardcover. And honestly, I don't know what this is about. I don't need to know what this is about. It's Kate Quinn, so it was automatically one that I was going to pick up and read. Everything I've read by Kate Quinn so far, all of her World War II historical fiction, I have absolutely loved. And so I got this one. Next up, I have another beautiful book, and that is The Sirens by Amelia Hart. This one has the fish on the sprayed edges, and it's so pretty. This one is another one that's looking at 3 generations, just like her book Wayward. I started that one, but I did DNF that one at part 2. But I'm curious to try something else by her, and hopefully it goes better for me. So this one is another one that's following 3 generations of women, but there is questions of sirens. And one of the girls, I think it's in the middle generation, has an allergy to water. And it sounds so, so good. I guess I could read you the full synopsis. So it says, they try to drown our voices, but the sisterhood of the sea cannot be silenced. 2019, Lucy awakens in the middle of the night with her hands around her ex-lover's throat. Horrified, she flees to her older sister's house on the Australian coast, hoping Jess can help explain the vivid dreams that preceded the attack. But she is nowhere to be found. Desperate for answers, Lucy finds and begins to read her sister's adolescent diary. 1989, Jess is a lonely 16-year-old in a rural town in the middle of the continent. Diagnosed with a rare allergy to water, she has always felt different, until her young, charming art teacher takes an interest in her drawings, seeing a power and maturity in them and in her that no one else has. 1800, twin sisters Mary and Eliza are torn from their home in Ireland and forced into a convict ship bound for Australia. Since their mother's drowning when they were girls, they feared the ocean, but as the boat bears them farther and farther from all they knew, they feel the water calling to them. As Lucy awaits Jess's return, strange rumors surrounding her sister's small town start to emerge. Numerous men have disappeared at sea. A tiny baby was found hidden in a cave, and sailors tell of hearing women's voices on the waves. A breathtaking tale of female resilience and the bonds of sisterhood across time and space, The Siren captures the power of dreams and the mystery and magic of the sea. So it sounds really, really good, and so I'm really hoping that I like this one better than I liked Wayward. I think the biggest issue that I had with Wayward was because it did have a boyfriend or a husband that was causing a lot of problems at the beginning, and I just couldn't get on board with that. I kept feeling like he was going to show up later on in the book, and I didn't want that. So try this one out. Hopefully I like it better than her first book. The next one that I picked up is The Ministry of Time. This is by Kaylee Ann Bradley. This one is looking into time travel and whether or not it can happen and how people will react if they are brought back from the 1800s to present day. So this one, we bring back a man named Commander Graham Gore, who's from 1847, and he comes to live with, what's her name? I don't remember her, I don't know if it says her name. But he comes to stay with this girl who is basically looking to see how they will react, and a romance ensues. I got this one because Sydney from Sid Bookworm talked about this book. She loved it. She gave it 5 stars. And so I'm so excited to read this book. This one is hopefully another one that I will be picking up this month. Next up, I have The Empire of Silence. This is by Christopher Ruocchio. I think that's how you say it. I did not realize that this was such a long series. So this is a 6-book series. And I got this one for me and my husband to read. This is the first book in the Sun Eater series. And I'm so curious to try it. So it says, it was not his war. The galaxy remembers him as a hero, the man who burned every last alien Sealson from the sky. They remember him as a monster, the devil who destroyed his son, casually annihilating 4 billion human lives, even the Emperor himself, against imperial orders. But Hadrian is not a hero. He is not a monster. He was not even a soldier. On the wrong planet at the right time for the best reasons, Hadrian Marlowe starts down a path that can only end in fire. He flees his father and a future as a torturer, only to be left stranded on a strange backwater world. Forced to fight as a gladiator and navigate the intrigues of a foreign planetary court, Hadrian must fight a war he did not start. For an empire he does not love, against an enemy he will never understand. So the part that really got me in this one is gladiator. He has to be a gladiator, and I'm so curious to try this one, especially when you throw in aliens and sci-fi and stuff like that. My husband and I are looking for a really, really good alien sci-fi, and we have yet to find one. Paradise 1 and Revenant X we thought was going to be that, and it wasn't. So I'm really excited to try this one out. I've never really heard anything about this book, and I did not realize, like I said, that it is a 6-book series, but I'm still really curious to try it. Hopefully I enjoy it. Okay, so now I have a couple that I do not physically have here with me because my husband or my son has them. So I also hauled Lords of Uncreation by Adrian Tchaikovsky this month. It is the 3rd book in, what series is that? I don't remember what the series is called. The Shards of Earth. No, I don't know. It's the 3rd and final book in that series. My husband is currently reading those. He says that they're fine, but I don't know. So he hasn't said a whole lot about it because he is very good about not telling me anything about the book and letting me just read it for myself. But he is currently reading that one, so obviously I don't have it here. I also hauled The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. I found this one at a little free library, and it is a really pretty blue and gold edition. And my son has decided that it is now his book. He wants to read it because it has a pirate ship on it and gold pages. And so he has that one right now. But I told him he can keep it until I'm ready to read it, and then he's got to give it back. But of course, that's a 1,000-plus page book. So he's going to have it for the foreseeable future at the moment. But I do also have that one. And I think that is it. So that is all the books that I have hauled in April. I have quite a few of them. I haven't read very many of them yet. But I'm hoping to really make a dent in that this month with my May TBR, because I know that if you watch that video, you've seen a handful of these pop up. So I have quite the stack of books that I have hauled. Have you read any of these? Did you enjoy them? Which do you think I should prioritize? And what would you like to see in a video? Let me know down in the comments below. And also, if you would be so inclined, please like, comment, and subscribe as well. And thank you for all of your views and support. And thank you for hanging out with me for a little bit. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.